Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I have to say, it's nice to see so many people in the room. Usually our meetings consist of a few hardcore but very, very important people, and it's nice that we have more people joining us tonight. A lot of things to share with you and lots of discussion, so let's get going. Richmond Board of Education acknowledges and thanks the first people of the Hunkaminam language group on whose traditional and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live. Okay, recognize the visitor. Thank you all again for coming. Announcements. We have some announcements, and then I have one final announcement. We're just going to start down at that end there. So, Trustee Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. Tonight, we will providing partners group representatives and members of the public an opportunity to speak directly to trustees on their budget priorities. We will be using a portion of tonight's board meeting for a budget committee of the whole. During the committee of the whole, we will receive presentations and briefs on the budget, or if you have comments or questions, you can email them to boardmeetings@sd38.bc.ca. I would also encourage you to visit our budget process web page to access information on our budget, as well as submit your budget feedback. Thank you.
Trustee Larson.
I have an announcement on the CUPE National Day of Mourning. April 28th is the National Day of Mourning, a day to remember and honor those who have lost their lives or have been injured due to workplace accidents. As a mark of respect, flags are flown at half-mast and ceremonies are held across the country and across the world. This day also serves as a reminder for us to renew our commitment to creating safer workplaces for all employees. Let's continue to work together to ensure that every worker returns home safely at the end of their workday. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Yang.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Mental Health Week in Canada takes place from May 4th to May 10th, 2026. This year's theme, Come Together Canada, focuses on the importance of social connection in supporting mental health. Led by the Canadian Mental Health Association, the week also aims to reduce stigma and encourage open conversations. In Richmond, schools support mental health by helping students and staff understand how to take care of their well-being, recognize when something may be wrong, and know where to go for support. Mental Health Week is one way this work is highlighted and supported for students and staff.
Thank you. Trustee Sargent.
Thank you very much. May is an opportunity to recognize both Asian and Jewish Heritage Months. Our schools acknowledge the contributions and cultures of these communities through learning activities that help students better understand different histories and perspectives. This work helps build respect and awareness across the school community, while creating environments where all students feel a sense of belonging and connection.
Thank you. Okay, I have an announcement, and I think that's what many of you here came to hear. I'm just going to, been provided a script here, so I'm just going to read it. The Richmond Board of Education is very pleased to announce that the new elementary school located at 8671 Audlin Crescent will be named City Center Elementary School. The name reflects the school's location within Richmond City Center and provides a clear and familiar reference points for the community it will serve. The naming process included the establishment of a school naming committee in June 2025. The committee was responsible for overseeing the process, reviewing submissions, and bringing forward a recommendation to the board. A public submission period was open from September to December 2025, and we received input from students, parents, and guardians, staff, and community members. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank everyone who took the time to participate in the process. Your input was valuable, and the submissions reflected a wide range of perspectives and community values. City Center Elementary School will support students and families in a rapidly growing area of Richmond. We look forward to welcoming students and families when the school opens. Trustee Tablotny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Trustee Tablotny was the chair of the selection committee, and Trustee Tablotny just made the announcement. Is there anything you want to add or mention about the process, or?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the bounce back still, so it's very difficult for me to talk. Because I keep hearing myself every third word. So I'm sorry. Just wanted to thank Trustee Sargent and Trustee Yang and the board and public for patience on the process. It was very, hang on, let me turn this down. So can you still hear me? Can you nod at me? Perfect, because this is driving me crazy. Okay, so I would have to say, we as a committee really looked at all of the submissions. We looked at the merit of all of them, and there were many. We received many submissions of all different sorts. We looked at the criteria and we discussed, each one of them. I think we looked very hard at all of them, and it was very hard to choose and come down to what in the long run, the short list that we proposed to the board. But I think that we had spent a good deal of time researching and looking at various options to move forward with the name for the school. And also I have to say, we were faced with a time constraint that we wouldn't be faced with if it was a brand new school. And we had time during the building phase. So it's very important for the school to open with a name. And so the board chose the name that's put forward to you tonight. And I just want to thank everybody for their hard work on this interesting project. And, I'd have to say we've learned from it. We've learned from the policy and the procedures. So it's been a very interesting exercise. So thank you so much, everybody, for your patience and input.
Thank you, Trustee Tablotny. Picking a name of a school in a situation like this is really challenging, because there are so many good candidates in terms of names, whether they be people or places or events or so on. And the one thing that I sort of gotten from this is that we shouldn't be waiting every time a school opens up, because we'll be waiting a long time, to acknowledge important people in the school's history. And I know that in the sports community, at the Oval, they have the Sports Wall of Fame, which acknowledges outstanding athletes, builders, coaches, and so forth. And no one knows yet, but one of my hopes before the school year is out is for us to develop something along that lines, because I don't want people whose names have been brought up and then to be forgotten because, the next school is not coming for a while and so on. And I just think that we need to find a way to acknowledge the people who have been outstanding teachers, principals, custodians, students, because we have many. And so, like I say, in Richmond, we have the Sports Wall of Fame, not the Hall of Fame. Whether we need something called the Honor Roll, I don't know. Down the road, I'm going to bring it up. Whether whether it goes anywhere, I'm not sure. But once again, as for the process, we're sort of working under tight timelines. And I do want to thank the committee for, taking on a very difficult job, because, some people will be, pleased, and a lot of people will be disappointed or, thinking, geez. But, life will go on, and as I said, we do need to find a way to acknowledge people and special events that have happened in the school board history, and hopefully we can do something like that. Okay,
May I say something?
yes, you sure may.
As a committee member, it was a very hard decision to come to. I think if you had seen the list of names, especially of human beings that were put forward, they were absolutely incredible, and their contributions to our community have been huge. I think it became very clear to me that it is very difficult to pick one name from many, and there isn't clear criteria. This person did this person didn't do this. I think it became clear to me, as it has with many districts in the province, that it's very difficult to name a school after a human being. So given that, I think it was pretty clear from the continued list after the names were taken off, in my mind at least, where we had to go as far as, okay, it became more about the area or a structure, a tree, or something like that. And I think if you were to think about debating the merits of a couple or lots of humans, I think it became very difficult. And that didn't diminish the contributions that all those people gave to the district and to our communities. So I think we also learned some things, as Trustee Tablotny said, especially around the work with Indigenous groups. And so I hope that moving forward, we change our policy and we use it as a learning. But thank you to everyone who gave a piece of their heart to this contribution to this process.
Trustees, anyone else that want to comment? Okay. Secretary Treasurer Wang, are there any materials not included in the package available to the public?
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. All information has been posted on the district website, with the exception of 2 budget briefs that were received after the submission deadline, which we will post them after the board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We have coming up the adoption of the agenda. Trustees, are there, unless there's any errors or last minute additions, can I look for a mover and a seconder? Moved by Trustee Larson, second by Trustee Yang. All in favor? Thank you. Moving on to item 3, presentation briefs and special recognitions. We do have a presentation today. Got down here, welcome to Kindergarten Resource, and I'm going to ask Assistant Superintendent Nazer to introduce the student presentation.
Good evening. Thank you. Well, we're so pleased this evening to begin our presentation with students from Steveston London Secondary, as well as staff with us to share their incredible work in creating a brand new Welcome to Kindergarten resource. It is my pleasure to introduce District Administrator Catherine Jewell to tell us more about this work and to introduce our artists.
It is an absolute honor this evening to share a project that has been in motion over this past school year, a special book for our incoming students in kindergarten, September 2026. While I begin, we do have a copy for our trustees to look at and reference while we do this presentation, and it is a gift for you so that you can have a copy and share as you see fit. So over the course of years and years and years and years, children coming into the Richmond School District have been provided a welcome to kindergarten bag. And these are handed out at a welcome to kindergarten event hosted at each child's school that they'll be entering. And inside the bag are resources and supports for the child and the family to help with their transition and ease into our schools. For many, many, many years, children have always received a book. And we purchased these books from publishers that were relevant and important information that we thought that would be a good book at home for a child to experience. The difference this year is that we created and wrote and illustrated our very own Richmond School District book. This project is going to be given to every child entering the school system, and it was created with a team of kindergarten teachers, teacher consultants, school administrators with the text, and then student artists from Steveston London Secondary Art Department to illustrate all the images that you will see in the book, and many of the images in the PowerPoint today. So why did we do this? Well, the book is intentionally designed to reflect our district's commitment to literacy and numeracy, and it connects directly with our ministry's early learning framework, which has a particular emphasis on identity and belonging as foundational to early learning. Writing our own script and creating our own illustrations allowed us to move beyond a generic resources and to be able to tell an authentic story, one that reflects the routines, the spaces, and the joyful moments that we know students will have when they come to our school district and that they will be able to recognize in this book and look forward to. Writing our own book also helped us with images that were purposely designed to be reflected with the full diversity of our school communities, ensuring that children and families can see themselves represented and feel like a genuine sense of belonging from their very first encounter with our school district that they receive. By authoring our own book, we were also able to ground the content in specific landscapes, schools, and communities, and spaces within the schools, and also to share experiences that kindergarten learners in Richmond will actually encounter, making the transition to school feel familiar and meaningful and rooted in place. And finally, with great pride, we were able to honor the tradition of the traditional territories on which our schools sit by weaving Indigenous place-based knowledge and perspectives, affirming our commitment and ensuring that Indigenous ways of knowing are present and celebrated with our earliest learning experiences. Tonight, we will have Summer Huang and Claire Pu from Steveston London share a little bit of their work. Megan Zenny and April Pickarainen, one of our teacher consultants, Megan, and April, one of our school principals, share their portion of the collaboration as well. Inside the book are very many elements that we were able to include that went beyond just the story. So each of our presenters this evening will share more about that in just a moment. So without further ado, I'm just so proud to share the cover artist of this amazing book, and there it is there in completion, Summer Huang, to share her work on this amazing collaboration.
Hi everyone, my name is Summer Huang. I'm currently a grade 12 student at Steveston London Secondary School. I was selected within my school community as the designer and executor of this book cover. As you can see, the book cover depicts a group of children from diverse backgrounds sitting together in a circle, and in the middle, a shadow of a heron is cast down. In my design, I wanted to emphasize the gesture of looking up, As for children, it is how they see the future and the world around them, like, because everything is so big for them, right? So they will see endless possibilities lying in front of them with hopes and curiosities. And the circular composition also points at the inclusion and unity of our community. So overall, through this cover, I want to capture the growth and learning journey of the children through a setting that feels familiar and relatable to our young audiences. And lastly, I want to say thank you again to all the adults who were part of this project for letting us have the opportunity to participate in such a project that could really benefit the community that made me who I am today. And passing on to my classmate Claire.
Okay. Hi, my name is Claire, and I am also a grade 12 student from Stevenson London Secondary School. I designed the heron character for this book, and there should be a sticker along it too to put on their water bottle. The heron is based on the Pacific great blue heron. It's a species at risk and a non-migratory subspecies found year-round along the coast of the lower mainland of BC. In my design, I simplify the heron using basic shapes such as oval and triangle and exaggerated its posture. I aim to capture a calm, almost blank sense of cuteness without losing its natural characteristic. As a child not long ago, I remember enjoying redrawing animal characters from books such as Elephant and Piggy and the whole Pigeon series, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. And from this experience, I understood that children often form a stronger connection with a simplified and expressive animal character compared to like a little kid, because they're a little kid themselves. And by building that connection, the character could foster curiosity and encourage the children to ask questions like, what is this bird? Or where can we see it? It also creates opportunities for parents to introduce ideas about the land we live on, as well as the relationship between herons and indigenous communities. Most importantly, it helps the children become aware that such a remarkable and just adorable bird lives here in British Columbia.
And we would also like to acknowledge all the student illustrators and teachers from our school's art department, including Ms. Korea, Mr. Shin, Mr. Thompson. They worked really hard to make this happen, and we're so proud of what turned out.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, the book begins with a land acknowledgement and a connection to the Richmond School District. It honors the story of place and the teachings of the land, the waterways, and the sky. The next couple of pages celebrate the child's strengths and their unique gifts, as you can see in the About Me section. And it also brings to life the importance of connections, beginning with the connection with family, which really shapes our identity as people. And throughout the book, you will notice thoughtfully designed texts and illustrations that help learners gain the context of what they might expect when they come into schools in the Richmond School District. This supports their transitions and sparks family conversations as they read the book together. These illustrations are grounded in the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they are also place-based and locally contextualized. The texts are framed around the I can statements. So these simple, child-friendly phrases describe experiences that children will encounter when they come into our schools. Why is that important? Well, the I can statements offer access for all learners. These strength-based phrases also honor the gifts of the child, highlighting what they can do. For example, I can care for living things. These I can statements also connect and reflect how the core competencies in the curriculum would be highlighted in school settings as well. Now pass it over to Megan.
All right, am I close enough? There we go. So each page of the book really recognizes and lifts up both district and ministry priorities with respect to early literacy and early numeracy. Familiar patterns, words, and numbers are represented and repeated throughout the text. representations of 5 help families better understand the importance of fluency and flexibility of number sense. This section of the book, we'll go to the next slide, the at-home section. Yeah, the at-home section of the book was co-developed by Brianna Adams, our literacy teacher consultant, Jonathan Tang, our numeracy teacher consultant, myself, early learning and outdoor learning teacher consultant, and Vanessa Yamamoto, an early French immersion kindergarten teacher in the district. The at-home section of the book recognizes that play and learning are not separate experiences for children. Each page offers parents insight into how well-being and learning are not separate. Rather, they grow together. Play is an important conduit for supporting and protecting dispositions for learning like curiosity, self-efficacy, self-regulation, and resiliency. By offering these pages in the book, we are attempting to support parents with a single resource that they can return to when they have questions about how they might support their child's literacy, numeracy, and social development at home.
We are so deeply proud of this project. Every child and youth involved, every teacher involved, and we believe that this will not only enhance our transitions into school, but will also feel a very special sense of pride when each child receives it, and will help strengthen the transition in a seamless and thoughtful and meaningful way. So thank you so much for allowing us to share this resource with you today, and we are here if you have any questions or comments.
Okay, trustees, any questions? I'll start down here, we'll just work our way through. Trustee Wong?
Chairman, so we really appreciate, thank you for the school staff, the department and art department of the London school. So I know that we're really proud of that. So really appreciate that we every year have a Welcome Kindergarten program on. And at that time, I attend before, say I have so many different sections and share with the student and get a turnaround. And the parents are really happy to can make friends, I see that, and talk to each other. So that's really good that when I have a student start in the kindergarten is really aware about that, how can get the information from the school. This is really important that it continue, and really proud that we have our own book for the Welcome Kindergarten Parents Package. Thank you.
You, Trustee Wong. Trustee Larson?
Thank you. Thank you to the adults for the guidance that you've provided to these wonderful young people. I have to say, when you first started talking about the cover, I had goosebumps. And you shared your feelings about that, and that's always so wonderful to hear. And I love how you mentioned your own identity and your connecting and belonging. Probably even brought some of that back to yourself in your creation. The faces on this cover, they're beautiful. Like, they're beautiful and they're happy. And I'm thinking, the question I have for you would be, while you were imagining this, or however an artist does that, because I certainly couldn't, did it take you back to being little, sort of, or?
Yes, for sure. Because I went to kindergarten in Richmond, in Anderson, and I just remember those days. Those were the days that I thought like every day was sunny, like every day was a happy day. And when I received the prompt, like a group of children sitting together on the playground, wherever, is the first image that came to my mind. And I sort of just brought that into life, and that's how the cover came to be.
Oh, that's wonderful. And also the inclusion of the heron that you've put, I love it. And the fact that it represents the diversity of our community and so on. But I love about how you referred to yourself from long ago, long ago, I think you mentioned, which probably isn't that long, but for you. But you've both left part of your hearts in this book. And there are going to be so many, oh, it almost makes me teary, but so many little children that will have a part of you in your stories from that. So thank you so much. And I really hope that maybe you might be thinking of becoming teachers someday. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Larson.
Thank you.
As a new grandfather, whose grandkid will be going to kindergarten in about 4 years, when I look at this book, it really blows me away. And when I'm reading with her, we have certain books, and they're colorful, and the pictures come to life, and that's what I see here. I think, wow, she's going to love it. I mean, kind of pushing her a little bit, but I'll be showing this to her, and we'll be working on this stuff. Because you can never get, too far ahead. Anyways, but yeah, the artwork is amazing, and she's going to love this. And thank you very much for putting it together. And thank you for, this is the Richmond School Board thing now. That's something special to us. So thank you. Trustee Yang?
Yep, thanks very much. I too want to just extend my appreciation to all 5 of you for being here today. Dr. Zenny, Ms. Pickerainen, Summer and Claire. By the way, great job presenting in front of all of us. Not an easy task. So full kudos to the 2 of you. And of course, Ms. Jewell, I know that, with the 2 portfolios that you have with our district are fully combined in a Venn diagram-like fashion.
Yes.
So very much appreciate your work in the early education piece to our district, as well as the fine arts, which we certainly appreciate. And at the end of the day, this is the visuals and just the inclusiveness of this document. This is a book for kindergartners. It's for parents. It's a document that is made by our learning community for our learning community. And, like it has been said, this will go on and on as a key piece to every kindergartner's journey when they first step into our district. So full kudos to all of you, and please do extend our thanks to everybody who's worked on this, all the other artwork as well. Can't wait to see what is in store next, because this is hard to beat. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Trustee Yang. Trustee Sargent?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I am a grandma, and I have 2 grandbabies, and I have one in grade 1 already, and one coming to kindergarten in September, and she is going to love this. And I think I should hold it back a bit so she can open it for herself on her first day. I'm not sure. But this cover should be an award-winning cover, honestly. Thank you. I don't know how we go about winning, and not that awards matter, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And it says so much in all these faces. And the main thing I love is that I belong at school. And that's such a big statement, and it's a goal of the board, a big goal. And we need to do better at it. And I think that seeing it like this is also for a board member, we know what we're focused on. And so it means so much. And then every picture has so much thought given to it. Like I'm a kind of a details person, and I love each thing in the picture, the flag, the rainbow crosswalk, the kids, how they all look different and wonderful, and what's in the back of a classroom, just even all those details. And I know as a gamma reading, I'll be going, and what else do you see in this? So all of you experts know exactly what you're doing. We were at a big conference I think it was last week, and we got to hear a wonderful, famous Indigenous author speak. And she talked about the many books she's written, and she said every book and every author has to recognize the illustrator. So that really comes to mind right now, because don't forget the illustrators, because they are as important as the authors. And that's what you did today, is you didn't forget the illustrators, and you highlighted the illustrators, because I know how much work you did. So this book means so much to the young people, but it means a lot to me as a trustee too, because this is our mantra. And then I just want to pick up on this, because water bottles are huge, right? Like I collect these stickers for the grandbaby's water bottles, and we have our own sticker for the water bottle, and it even says my name on it. Will students be getting these stickers, or? This is massive with Richmond, so we can be proud. So, teachers, you know, you're so invaluable. And just want to say thank you so much to everybody. It's a little book that means a lot. Thank you.
Trustee Sargent. Trustee Beliza, followed by Trustee Tablotny. We haven't forgotten about you. Trustee
Thank you,
Beliza, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, and thank you for a very good presentation. And thank you for sharing a very important thing, you know, for about the belonging aspect, you know, foundational learning, early learning, very, very important. And what struck me here is the word I can. There are only two kinds of people. Those who believe they can and those who believe they cannot. And success comes to those who believe they can. You know, and I can, you know, learn new things. I can share my ideas. You know, this is foundational in the sense that when you grow up further, like myself, you know, you can share knowledge because knowledge is power. And I can share and I can sing along because music is a language of the soul, you know, that you can share and make people happy. The sense of belonging is very important. This book, not only pictures, but represent life and purpose of our very values in our school district and the strategic plans and principles that we have embedded in the early stage, and that is very important, foundational early learning. Thank you very much for this presentation.
Thank you, Trustee Beliza. And Trustee Tablotny.
Hi, am I unmuted? Can you?
Very good.
Okay, I turned my sound down because it's bouncing back at me. I just want to say, you know, from what I can see of the book, because I don't have it in my hands, and I can't wait until I can get it in my hands because it just looks amazing. I think the artwork and the detail and, you know, the ability to have discussions about school and finding the heron on the pages and the different, you know, the shapes and the circles. I think it's just fantastic. My own grandchild is going to be going to school in a couple of years, and I hope she gets a book like that. But if not, I'll be using Richard's book to teach her. I think it's just beautiful and such a gift to kids starting school. And it's something that you can all be extremely proud of creating. What I wondered though about the artwork, was that created on paper? Like what mediums did you use? Did you create it through the computer? Because I'm not well versed in that. I think it's still called CAD, but it might be called something else. I'm just curious how all that artwork was created, how it morphed into the book, if you can explain the process.
I know that me and Summer use Procreate. Like, we did it digitally since it needs to be like a higher resolution when we print it out. Also, mine need to make like the hair needs to be in the sticker. It needs to be everywhere. It's just easier to edit if it's digital. I don't know for my other classmate, they did it on paper, and I think they scan it on like digitally.
Yes, we decided with the art teachers to have a medium that everyone used, and the district arts program, we funded new Ohana alcohol markers for the classes to use, and so they all had the same medium. And that was one of the instructions, so that we had a similar read and look throughout the book. And then they were all provided a prompt and some setting ideas to include. And 126 students submitted art from 4 different classes, and in the end, the 31 were chosen based upon hitting the brief that they were given. So it was a real exercise in becoming an illustrator of a book and working with a brief and working with instructions, and also following the notes that they were provided for their settings. So it was quite an entailed process that took pretty much an entire term.
Well, thank you very much. That's amazing.
Okay, trustees? Folks, thank you very much for presenting. Thank you for putting this together. This is going to live on for a long, 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 long time, and hopefully one day someone will come home, or you'll see a friend or who's has a kid, and you can say, hey, I did the drawing, or I put it together. All right. So, on that note, thank you very much for coming tonight. A wonderful presentation. Okay, we are going to move on to briefs. Now, we did receive 2 briefs from CUPE and RTA. Do you want your brief to be presented under the brief section, or do you want to be part of the committee of the whole? I don't know if it matters to you or not. No, we have it, but we just want to know, do you want it recorded as a brief for the minutes? Because then it will be put in as you sent it. Or if it's part of the committee of the whole presentation, then it's just all combined together. So, Liz, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Same? Good plan. All right, so in that case, we have no briefs at this time. Questions from the public. Now, I do have something I'm supposed to read here. Before we begin the questions from the public portion of the agenda, I would like to remind everyone that participation in this session must be respectful and in accordance with the District Code of Conduct and Policy 201, Board Operations. As per Policy 201, each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to ask questions or make a brief statement, and that total time allotted for this portion of the meeting is 30 minutes. The board expects comments to relate to items on the public agenda and to be meaningful and courteous. Chair may intervene or end participation if conduct becomes disrespectful or inconsistent with the Code of Conduct, which never happens. Thank you for your cooperation in making and maintaining a respectful and orderly meeting. Now, Assistant Soup Lang has a speakers list there. Is there anyone on there, or just no one knows that they had to put their name on it? So if you're interested in coming up and asking questions, if you can just pop by Mr. Lang, and he'll just record your name, and then come on up and ask your question. Yeah.
Note the difference. We're going to break up into.
No. We can wait. Yep, come on up. If you could say your name and.
Sure. I'm Dean Billings with the RDPA most of the time. My question is just more of a clarification thing about the bylaw, the capital budget piece. Just a quick question about, I didn't see any IT projects, and so that got me thinking about, so what's can you clarify, I guess, why something would be maybe an operational project versus a capital project? And then are there no big IT projects in the district, or maybe I'm misunderstanding why I don't see any on the list? It's all engineering projects and kind of, I guess, physical building type projects, but I assumed you guys are a pretty big organization, maybe at least 1 or 2. But that was my question.
Would like to.
Well, May I invite the Secretary Treasurer to comment?
Sure, yeah, thank you through the chair. Thank you for that question. The capital bylaw is specifically to implement the ministry-approved minor capital projects. So in order to qualify for the minor capital projects, these projects must be submitted to the ministry for approval, and that they have a specific criteria for different types of project. For example, school enhancement program, carbon neutral capital program, building envelope project, feeding futures program, playground equipment program. So those are the specific funding categories that we submit projects to the ministry to approve. Therefore, minor projects, but we're talking about minor, but they're still around, you can see the dollar amount is somewhere between $200,000 up to $1 million. So smaller capital equipment, for example, computer, those would be part of the ongoing school district's capital acquisitions.
Okay, cool. So if I can clarify, so it wasn't intended to be a list of every project. It's the stuff that if it gets ministry funding or in that approvals, that's kind of the scope of it, then it has to be on that
Yeah,
list?
so this capital bylaw is specifically following the ministry's approval. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, folks? Okay, you'll have another opportunity again. We're going to move on to item 6, approval of minutes of prior meetings. There was a record of an in-camera meeting held for the board Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Another regular meeting of the board held Wednesday, March 11, 2026 for approval. Trustees, the minutes are in your report. Looking, unless there's any errors. Are we missing anything? Sorry?
This one, number 5.
Oh, I forgot about our executive. Superintendent Mussi, you have anything you want to share with us?
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here tonight. The Richmond District, the Richmond School District continues to be a high-performing public education system with students' outcomes in our district among the strongest in the province. It's something we can all be proud of. This success is made possible, as I often say, by the dedication of our staff, who create the conditions for students to learn, grow, and succeed each day. I thought tonight that I will focus on the 2026-27 budget, given that the budget report is before the board tonight for consideration. Each year, the annual budget sets out how we allocate our resources to sustain strong programs and support student learning across the district. The 2026-2027 budget responds to current financial pressures, including inflation, changes in federal immigration levels, rising operating costs, and a projected enrollment decline of approximately 1% in our district. Over the past year, the district has reduced operational costs and expenditures where possible. Despite these efforts, further adjustments are required to present a balanced budget in accordance with provincial requirements. This means making decisions now that will keep our district financially stable in the years ahead. As we consider where adjustments can be made, it is helpful to understand how the district's budget is structured. Most resources are allocated to staffing in schools and across the system. When funding changes, staffing levels must be adjusted to align with enrollment and collective agreement requirements. As part of the 2026-27 budget process, difficult decisions have been considered, including proposed positions reductions across employee groups. In total, these proposed staffing reductions represent less than 1% of overall workforce in our district. However, these are changes that will affect individuals and teams across the district, as these roles are important, are part of the work that currently supports our schools and departments. Any resulting adjustments will be managed to maintain, my apologies, yes, any staffing, any adjustments to staffing of that work that is proposed certainly will continue to find ways in supporting the good work that happens in our schools and departments across the system. I want to reiterate that while these staffing adjustments are necessary to align with enrollment for the upcoming school year, we are hard-pressed to bring forward these budget recommendations to the board. And that's because every role in our district is integral to supporting student success. Simply put, we'd rather not be making any reductions. And I think that that's a fair statement to make, given the strength of this organization and the work that employees do in our district each and every day to support student success. Our work to date has been guided by the district's established budget process, with ongoing input from partner groups. The proposed changes will be reviewed by the Board of Education as part of the budget approval process, with final decisions to be made at the public board meeting in May. As we move forward, our focus remains on supporting students and classrooms in ways that are consistent and responsive to their needs. These decisions reflect that focus and are guided by our strategic plan and our commitment to student success, equity, and well-being across all schools. Let me close by thanking staff, students, and families for their dedication to student success. I'm confident that our district will continue to achieve high levels of excellence as we work together to support success for all learners. And I think we all know that many districts, not just Richmond, is grappling with a tough physical environment in light of the decline in enrollment that we're experiencing in our district. But again, I'm confident that as we move forward together, we will find ways to continue to make sure that the Richmond School District remains one of the strongest performing districts in this province. And for that, I thank you all, and I thank our staff, our students, and families for the work that happens across this district. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Yusi. Okay, now we'll get back to the approval of the minutes from prior meetings. Jumping ahead, regular meeting of the board was held Wednesday, March 11th. The minutes are in your package unless there's any errors or omissions. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Trustee Sargent, seconded by Trustee Beliza. All in favor? And carried. Okay. Number 7, business arising from prior minutes. The next item on the agenda is the Committee of the Whole for public discussions regarding the 2026-2027 annual budget update. We have a staff recommendation that the Board of Education move into a Committee of the Whole to allow for all members of the public in attendance to have the opportunity to participate in the discussion of the 2026-2027 annual budget, and that the superintendent will facilitate the discussion. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation to move into a Committee of the Whole? Trustee Wong, thank you. And seconder, Trustee Yang. Any discussions? All right, I now call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. All right. I will begin by asking the Secretary Treasurer to speak to her report.
Thank you, Chairperson. The district is committed to a transparent and inclusive budget process. The purpose of the budget process, obviously, is to align resources with the district's strategic priorities and goals. For 26-27, we're proposing a balanced budget according to the legislative requirements, with the focus on 2 priorities. Priority number one is to focus on the learners. We, as a district, continue to provide high-quality public education for all learners. And this is to provide the teachers, the EAs, allocations, and custodial services, all these other support services in our schools, in our classrooms, to support the student learning. This year, despite a modest enrollment decline because of the external factors that are outside of the control of our school district, we continue to prioritize classroom supports with some minor staffing adjustments aligned to this enrollment pattern. Number two focus of this budget is to strengthen organizational effectiveness by promoting long-term sustainability while making sure fiscal accountability and aligned with student enrollment changes. So the attached document to this report details the budget strategies that are being considered for the 26-27 budget. And these strategies have been developed in a context of shifting enrollment patterns. It demonstrates prudent use of public funds and prioritize resources for classroom, for schools, and all the support that we need for the learners' success. As mentioned by our superintendent, Richmond continues to be a vibrant and diverse learning community. And I'd like to reiterate what the superintendent just mentioned. The Richmond School District is a learning community, and the budget is a reflection of the district's operational plan in financial terms. And the goal of this budget is to continue for Richmond School District to be recognized as one of the strongest student achievement districts in BC. So thank you, Chairperson.
Well, Mr. Chair, if I may, thank you very much. The Committee of the Whole, it's an opportunity for partner groups and members of the public to present to the board on the preliminary annual budget, emphasize preliminary. The board will consider all input from the partner groups and the public before final budget decisions are made at the May public board meeting. If there are any attendees from the public who have not signed up in advance and would like to make a statement tonight regarding the 2026-27 annual budget, we kindly ask that you please sign up with Assistant Superintendent Liang, and you will be added to the speakers list. While you're doing that, just for the viewing audience, if you are invited to send in your comments or questions via email to SD38 budget feedback, that's one word, no space, at sd38.bc.ca. Again, I'll repeat, it's SD38 budget feedback at sd38.bc.ca. Thank you very much. And just a reminder that speakers are asked to keep their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes in order to allow for as many people as possible to share their thoughts during the meeting. Well, thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to invite Liz Baverstock, President of the Richmond Teachers Association, to present a comment, a brief. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz Baverstock, President, Richmond Teachers Association. 3 minutes. So I'll just start by saying I recognize this is a difficult time. I know the board doesn't want to be here. And I think back first when I look at page 22 to 10 years ago when we didn't have the Classroom Enhancement Fund. In 2016, it didn't exist. And you looked at that's estimated to be $52 million. That was the hard work of teachers on picket lines and taking this case all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada and getting our working and learning conditions back. So we would be a very different place without that money, without the hard work of everyone involved during that time. The key part for me is I have really big challenges with the cuts that are being proposed, but it would be remiss of me to not actually talk about some of the other challenges. Yeah, there are cuts being proposed, but that's within the context of that we are anticipating this decrease in enrollment, both domestic and international. That is actually going to translate into cuts in enrolling classrooms, but also in terms of the support provided by ELL, LRT, and counseling support. because that's tied to enrollment. We have a 1% cut in enrollment, but a 3.2% enrollment increase for funded students who will require additional support. But the drivers won't be there. And so you're faced with making these cuts of 5.7 FTE when I talk about RTA members. But in reality, there are going to be other cuts that are enrollment driven. And of course, I'm particularly concerned about how that's going to impact teachers and classrooms and learning. I would ask that you reconsider the proposed cuts to education services. Each one of these align with the board's strategic priorities, including Priority 1, Successful All Learners, and Priority 2, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. More specifically, we disagree with the cuts to 3.0 FTE of teacher consultants. Specifically, those positions, they're not named in the brief, but it is outreach behavior resource teacher, Indigenous success teacher, mental health consultant. Then there's the 1.0 FTE cut to RVS coordinator, 1.0 FTE cut to hearing resource teacher, and 0.2 FTE to school psychologist. In my brief that I submitted, I have not gone into the description of each one of these roles, but I will be sending you another brief tomorrow, specifically about these roles, which really was meant to be for committee of the whole, because these are about roles that teachers have held, may no longer hold. They may be vacant by choice of the district, but not something that the RTA does agree with. So we have our outreach behavior resource teacher. It's currently vacant by choice of the district. That's a specialized resource teacher who works directly with students with diverse abilities and intensive behavior and provides support and advice to teachers and school-based teams. This is direct support to students. The hearing resource teacher, also currently vacant, but this is a position, and the loss of this position does mean loss of direct support to students, because there's less time available for the qualified teachers to support students because there will be less of the teachers. Indigenous success teacher, this is a position that's been vacant since February. The RTA has strongly advocated for this position to be filled. We don't feel that this is in alignment with the budget strategy to close achievement gaps for priority populations. What this has actually currently meant is that the caseload for the teachers who are supporting these students has gone from 46 kids to 67 students. And that is going from across 11 elementary schools to 16 elementary schools. This is a priority population that does need direct support. And we do not feel that this is in any way sustainable. And it really doesn't allow the teachers to do their work in a good way with the Indigenous students who need this support and these connections to school. RVS coordinator, our biggest concern here is there's a model change going on with RVS from a synchronous model to what we call an online asynchronous model. That's a big shift in pedagogy, and therefore the program and the teachers who are involved in this will need continued support. So for these reasons, when you're undergoing a big shift, we don't think that's the time to remove one of the RVS coordinator positions. School psychologists, those of you who have read my briefs many times, we've strongly advocated for increase in terms of school psychologists. This doesn't, for us, though it's 0.2 FTE, align with the fact that 3.2% enrollment increase is anticipated for funded students. And then mental health consultant, it's the last one I will speak to. I've heard the Board of Education routinely express support for the ministry's mental health in schools strategy, and the mental health consultant provides leadership to the district in mental health and supports building of capacity to better identify, access, and implement supports for children and youth with mental health diagnoses, including those with developmental disabilities. The mental health consultant is involved in monthly district-based teams as a mental health expert. They review data, ask questions, and provide recommendations. I see in the report that the district believes that the ICY could possibly replace this. But it's important to understand that not always do parents and students consent to the services of ICY or other assessments. And in these cases, the consultant works more closely with school counselors and staff to provide trauma-informed recommendations and strategies on how to better support complex behaviors and symptoms. So we disagree with any cuts that reduce mental health support. So I'm going to leave it there. I will be sending more information. The rest of, because 3 minutes is very short, the rest of this is outlined, providing the FTE support for small secondary schools, making sure there's special attention for the opening of a new school and where those students are coming from, making sure that the new model of in-service support for secondary is well supported, both in terms of in-service and support for teachers and staffing. We are concerned that the staffing levels aren't there. Inquiry grants, they were cut this year, and teachers, this is how teachers actually probably interact more with the board's strategic work than in any other way, is through inquiry, through these inquiry grants. And so this has been a profound loss, and teachers have talked about it all year. We just need transparency with this, the cuts to school-based budgets, specifically in terms of secondary and how that will be supported. We understand that schools can go and ask the district for additional funds for hardship, but what we need to make sure is that the cuts won't impact learners, that we aren't going to see reduced access to consumable supplies and learning resources, such as paper, textbooks. We've seen that in the past. And in all cases, be mindful of staffing reductions and their impact on employee well-being. It'll impact the ability for the district to implement the board's strategic plan and any new board recommendations. So you're going to have to think about that if you're bringing a new idea, that there are going to be less people to do that. So keep this in mind when making requests and when providing strategic oversight of the district's work. Every decision you make must ensure employee well-being remains at the forefront. With that, we always stand here ready to work and advocate, because we know this isn't all, this is not all you're doing. You have to make hard decisions. And underfunding of public education, unfortunately, continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baverstock. Trustees, do you have any questions from Ms. Baverstock? Trustee Yang?
Yeah, thanks very much. So I'll try to yield some time back to you, Ms. Baverstock, through my questions. So the first one just around the mental health piece, and recognizing that that's included in your brief, but I'm just wondering if you can provide further context and examples to the work that the mental health positions that are being proposed and, you know, the everyday work that they do. Just to give more color to the discussion here.
Well, I've got it quite detailed in my brief, so absolutely, I certainly can do that. This is a 1.0 mental health consultant position. It's an RTA member who helps, and now I think probably I'll just look at what paragraph do I really want to point out to you. Well, specifically, the mental health consultant provides professional development for school counselors and other staff in the areas of mental health and neurodiversity, such as in the introduction to dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, and supporting students with co-occurring anxiety and autism. They've organized guest speakers, and in their role, they have monthly group peer consultations with area counselors on DBT and other strategies, and they also provide one-to-one consultations with the adolescent support team to discuss their most complex cases and how they can support specific skills to improve student mental health, interpersonal relationships, school attendance, and performance. They do collaborate with the ICY teams, families. They are an active member of district-based teams. They advise and coordinate the adolescent support team. They play a key role in the district crisis response team and the violence threat risk assessment process. In these roles, they've provided counseling support for staff and students and provided recommendations for interventions and follow-up supports. That gives you a little flavor. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Certainly, that's why we're here to, ask those questions. We're so at the governance level, we're not there to see the work of our educators and professional staff. So appreciate that. And then just one last question for Ms. Baverstock as well on your recommendations on ELL. Based on the changes that are making to the delivery model. I wonder if you can speak to ELL workload. And again, just another opportunity to provide some time for you to share what you're hearing from your members, particularly those in learning services, resource teachers, and what they have to say about these changes and what that will do to, how we deliver ELL in our district.
Yeah, this is a significant shift because for ELL, there is actually going to be less classes provided to level 1, level 2, and at level 4. The number of classes, discrete classes that students take at ELL level 3 will remain the same. I think what I would say is there's a lot of anxiety out there. People don't understand how we're going to be able to actually support all of the learners with this shift. And what they need to understand the model better. They need some in-service. They need to make sure that the number of teachers are there in order to support the caseload. The vision is to do something similar to what is done in elementary, but secondary is an entirely different model where students are moving from class to class, and one teacher will be supporting 50 students across 2 blocks. But that actually, if you think about transitions across a secondary school, we have concerns, will that be enough time to actually have some of that small group instruction, push in, pull out of students? And so I think in a lot of ways we have a lot of questions. We don't completely understand the model. We think it's it is rushed and almost getting ahead of what we think and we have suggested through the board's strategic plan is an inclusion review where the partner groups, the educators can actually be involved in the discussions. So a lot of this is actually based on concern because we don't completely understand the model, and I think that's how the teachers feel out there in secondary schools. That's what we're hearing. We don't know all of those details.
Well, seeing no other questions, thank you very much, Ms. Baverstock.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Stacey Robinson, President of QP Local 716. Ms. Robinson, thank you.
Good evening. First off, I'd like to just acknowledge that today is Administrative Professional Day, so I'd like to just
I got bounced back. It's terrible. Turn that.
say that. So just thank you to all our administrative staff and all our administrative assistants and professional staff among QP. So we are looking at 8.5 FTE positions that are being cut. I am specifically here to, why all 8.5 positions are extremely important to us. I am specifically here to talk about the help desk analyst position. So I'll just read my brief, and then we have 2 people from IT that can speak more on the technical part of it and the numbers and all that kind of stuff and the stats, if you have any questions following that. Okay, so my name is Stacey Robinson. I am the president of QP Local 716, and we represent the school support staff in the Richmond School District. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on the proposed budget cuts to the help desk analyst position. and what the loss of these skilled workers will mean to our district. Eliminating this job within the technology department would have significant consequences for students, staff, parents, as well as the overall efficiency of the district. In today's K-12 learning environment, reliable technology is not optional. It is foundational to teaching, learning, and administration. As workers for this district, help desk analysts are the primary point of contact for all technology-related issues. They connect schools and departments, ensuring that systems run efficiently and disruptions are resolved quickly. Eliminating this role will lead to service delays, reduced operational effectiveness, and will negatively impact daily educational delivery to students. The people that provide help desk services provide direct support for administrators, teachers, support staff, custodians, parents, caregivers, and students. They deliver training for new staff and conduct workshops during Pro-D days to increase digital literacy for all staff. They support core platforms and assist families with parent portal access. And of course, they provide direct support to students, ensuring that they have reliable access to technological tools for learning. Help desk analysts also manage critical operational functions, deploying and maintaining staff devices, coordinating inventory, handling summer collection and redeployment prior to school startup, supporting school audits, and ensuring compliance with district and provincial requirements. In addition, they oversee the intake, distribution, and delivery of procured technology resources, ensuring schools and departments receive the technology that they need in a timely and organized way. With only 2 help desk analysts supporting the entire district, losing even one position will have immediate and lasting impacts on students and families. It will disrupt classroom instruction, slow administrative operations, reduce support for families, and ultimately increase long-term costs through inefficiencies, errors, and potential outsourcing. These roles require highly skilled workers who specialize knowledge and experience that cannot be easily replaced. Preserving the help desk analyst position and keeping these workers is critical to maintaining the integrity and effectiveness of our district's educational and technological, I don't have a problem with that word, services. The long-term risks of weakening the technological support that keep our schools running and students learning far outweigh the short-term savings. At a time when our students' educations and futures are more dependent than ever on reliable technology, this is not where we step back, it's where we stand firm. I urge the board to protect this role for the success of every student, educator, and family that we serve. And now I'm going to just put it over to our other 2 IT support.
Okay, do you want to read yours first, or? So we've got some stats here.
We could probably start. Yeah. You made lots.
Good evening, Chair, member of the board, and senior staff. I'm here today to oppose the elimination of the help desk position, and it's hard for me to say because this isn't just a position. The people in this position put their heart and soul in helping people. For nearly 10 years, I've been on the other side of the phone, the email, the urgent Teams message, the work orders, the drop-ins. I've supported many of you through stressful moments, last-minute classroom issues, and days when things just not working right, and someone needed to respond right away. When we answer a call, we're not just fixing a technical issue, we're stepping into someone's moment of stress or even panic. There are times when staff call in tears or angry, convinced that their years of work has been lost, and in those moments, our role goes far beyond troubleshooting. We're calming them down, reassuring them, and helping them breathe while we work to recover what we can. It's emotional labor as much as it's a technical skill, and it requires patience, empathy, and ability to support someone through a crisis while still finding a solution. During COVID times, when everything was shifted overnight, and it was the help desk department that helped people stay connected, whether we were at home, we connected them through Teams, Zoom, or any other type of software, even though we couldn't be physically together. That worked actually mattered, and it still does. And the reality is we are short-staffed, already short-staffed, with only 2 help desk analysts. One position remained unfilled, and now another one is being proposed for elimination. What we do at the help desk doesn't just disappear. It doesn't get absorbed without an impact. We're the hub that connects every single part of our technology department. We resolve over 90% of the issues at first contact, preventing them from escalating and saving time across the entire system. When this layer is removed, things don't run the same. They get delayed, they get missed, and the people who are gonna feel the most is gonna be our teachers, staff, and ultimately our students. We get a lot of students called every single day trying to just get onto their computers with the help of the teacher beside them. Just last week itself, we answered over 100 calls each day, and this is not even the busiest time of the year. On Friday alone, we handled 211 calls. And that's not excess capacity, that's real ongoing demand. And I've provided you guys stats so you can actually see that we have the real proof behind it. If even 1 calls, let's say, take about 5 minutes, and on average we answer 100 calls, that's about 8 hours of being on the phone. Not to mention that we have drop-bys, work orders, laptop deployment, parent portal emails, and many other things that we do, which is not even included in our job description. When it's spring break, Christmas holidays, and summer break, while everyone else is enjoying time off with their families, it is a help desk team that's collecting the laptops, answering all the parent portal emails, setting up the schools in MyEd, setting up bells across the whole district, checking the inventory system if somebody has missed returning their technology. So it's really hard for me to ask, why is it always the frontline roles that gets hit the hardest? The roles that are easier to remove on a paper or a line item in your budget, but harder to replace in reality. And I'm not pointing fingers right now, but why are the management positions are not being looked at? Why there are raises done for senior staff? And I'll be honest, this decision is deeply disheartening. Many of us are struggling to understand how a role that so directly impacts classroom and student learning was even identified for elimination. I understand there are very difficult decisions to make, declining enrollment, budget cuts, budget pressures, and I know that they're real. But even with those realities, we must ask, what are we actually prioritizing and at what cost? Because removing the help desk analyst is not just removing a position, it's removing a critical layer of support that holds our schools together in ways that often go unseen until it's gone. I urge the board to reconsider this proposal of eliminating this position, because the next time a classroom can't function, a teacher is stuck, or a student loses their learning time, and no one is there to answer, that silent will be the cost of this decision. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Baverstock and team. Trustees, if you have any questions, I'm sorry, my apologies.
No, that's okay. This is Gurpreet Farid, coach. This is her job that we are actually here about. I just wanted to, I wasn't actually prepared to speak, but I will just want to touch on some of the things that she mentioned. People don't want to call us, but by the time they do call us, they're pretty upset. And I think, like Gurpreet mentioned, we started with 3 help desk analysts, one job we never did fill, and now we're looking at losing her job. I'm the foreman in the department. I'm often working on special projects, laptop deployment, et cetera. I do try answer the phone. We have Cindy Fleming there. She's our other help desk analyst. They've come to support us tonight, as well as a lot of the tech departments, which they've also lost a position. People are very upset by the time they call us, and if they can't get a hold of us, they are irate often. And we spend a lot of time talking people off the ledge. And I'm afraid that if we lose this position, we will get many, many voicemails that we just simply will not be able to get back to. That is one of the problems. Another project that we more or less taken on, and I think Rob Lang can talk about, is Parent Portal. We are really actively trying to get the parents now to log on and get report cards online. That takes a lot of support. They don't get the support at the school level. There isn't enough. The high schools do a little bit of support with them, but the bulk of the support does land with us, and that is the parents of our district. There's some stats you can see here. Report card time is the tough time, obviously. We try to keep the parents up to date with creating their accounts early on in the year. However, at report card time, when the time comes to view their report cards, we get over 900 emails, and that is just the three of us working on it. We're a very small department. We have a manager, a four-person, and 2 help desk people. So there's really only 4 of us that are working on this, as well as our usual workload with the teachers struggling with report cards. We are also supporting the parents of the district. So that is quite a volume that we deal with every report card time. So that's coming up again. Devices, we have over 10,400, and this is from our database, 10,407 total devices in the district. That is cell phones, iPads, Macs, PCs, Wacom tablets, you name it, as well as the various amounts of software out there that people struggle to use. We have a lot of young teachers, but we also have hired a lot of retired teachers that are struggling with technology. So the calls are they come in quite a lot as they're struggling to use not just the computer, they're struggling with MyEd, trying to do report cards, and they need our help. So, sometimes the calls last half an hour. You know, we can't get them off the phone all the time. We need to support them with this. Training, we do a lot of training in the district now. We train all the new clericals that come in, and as you know, the clericals are a big backbone of our schools. They are responsible for the 1701, which is our funding in the district. So we do all the training for that. So I think that's pretty important. We do What About Wednesdays, which is something we've started. And every Wednesday we go at 2 o'clock. They can sign in and we go over new policies, new procedures, and anything that's come up that they need help with, and training as needed. We go out, we train teachers. We also do tech time, where the team will send a whole tech division along with help desk staff out to a school to help teachers who are struggling with laptop updates and use of technology in general. So yes, we've just given you a little sheet here on some of the things. We also, drop-ins, we never mentioned that. We get 3 to 4 drop-ins a day. We do have people schedule appointments, but a lot of our custodians, they're ELL, they're struggling with technology. A lot of people came in, we needed to print off their T4 for them. So today I just got a call from someone who got injured at work, a staff member who had no idea how to use a computer to fill out the online incident report, and asked if they could make an appointment and come in, and we could help them with that. So we do a lot of support in the district, so we're asking if you would please consider not cutting that particular job. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I mean, we've obviously there's latitude in terms of the 3 minutes.
Sorry.
But understandably, and it's always insightful to hear more about the work that staff do in the organization. And I think you understand that tonight, again, this is for you to have the opportunity to present to the board. Trustees, at this time, do you have any questions from Ms. Baverstock or the team? Yeah.
It's Robinson.
Oh, my apologies, Ms. Robinson.
Yeah, that's okay.
My apologies.
That's all right.
Brent Freeze. Trustee Larson, please.
I wondered, could you just go over your Wednesdays again?
What About Wednesday? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a new kind of initiative we started to get information out to our clerical staff. They're the front line of the schools. And what started as every once a month, and it's become every other Wednesday, and now it's become almost every Wednesday. And we call it What About Wednesday? So at 2 o'clock, we have a Teams meeting. They can log in, and usually we have a topic. It would be report cards. They publish the school report cards. So how to do that, and the standard message that should go out, how long it should go out, what to tell your parents who are struggling with logging in and seeing their report card. School startup was 1701. We will talk about what kind of coding the students will need to get the accurate funding for the district. Just topics in general.
Okay. And just one other thing, so you get a fair amount of drop-ins as well?
We do, yes.
I usually make appointments, but.
I know you do. Thank you, Heather.
And so you were saying, so with, for example, custodians coming in.
Yes, yeah.
You support all areas of the technology. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. A lot of them will come in with their phones, brand new phones. They have no idea how to use them. Multi-factor authentication, which is another initiative that the district, you probably are well aware that when you sign on, you have to get that. That is a new concept for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of us do Amazon shopping and are very familiar with it, but a lot of people are not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Trustee Yang?
Yeah, thanks very much, and let me just start by saying thank you to all three of you, Stacey, Gurpreet, and I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Lisa Devitt.
Lisa, thank you for being here, and I think it's somewhat strange to talk about the work that you do and the challenges we face on Administrative Professionals Day, and I want to just say that I fully understand what that means and what that entails and what the challenges are. I will go to my questions. So just around tech services, not only certainly your the position that at issue here, but just also tech services at large. Are we seeing a lot of turnover of staff and just challenges with retention? I know that in my experience that with such high volume and the complexities that the job that comes with the job, it's very hard to retain certain positions, and I could imagine that's something as stressful as taking calls from parents or folks in the learning community, how much that has impact on everybody's work. So I was just wondering if any of you can comment on what you see in your workplace in terms of retention, or...
Are you talking specifically at IT, the retention, or are you talking about retention across the board?
At the IT department.
Okay, I'll leave that to these.
Yeah, well, I'll address that. I've been with the board 30 years. I've been in IT since 2007. No, there's not a lot of turnover. We're like a family. We're a very close-knit group. People love their work, and we love Richmond. It's our home. And yeah, we've just been given a beautiful new office, and we've been enjoying it very much at Rideau Park. Thank you for that. And no, there is not a lot of turnover.
And then just, I guess my one other question I have was, well, obviously there's a whole host of proposals that are presented tonight. Were there any other comments to some of the other proposals? Just wanted to give you that time to.
Yeah, I did submit another brief for communications consultants about.
So the other, just want to add to that, some of the other positions that are in the proposal for elimination, they're actually not filled. So there is a human person already in that position. So the position that we're coming here for is someone who's going to get affected for sure.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Trustee Amaguchi, please.
In terms of clerical work, do you guys do the clerical work, or do you have clerical help?
So thank you for the question, Chair. We don't have any clerical. We used to have an admin assistant back in the day, which was already also cut. And her position was, she had to bump someone else to get into somewhere. So any type of deliveries or any type of like clerical things that needs to be done, it actually lands on help desk on top of our duties. So we're the ones who are managing the doors, every single thing.
I don't know if you can answer this. Can you come up with a percentage of how much of your time is clerical time versus direct service time?
Well, we did lose our clerical about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now. We lost it in a budget cut, and we have quite a large department, but her work was split up. She did the shipping, receiving, and things like that. So I would say 4 or 5 people have picked it up. How much is clerical? We don't really do clerical, so to speak. I think you're thinking like of letter writing and things like that. Everyone does their own work. I'd say they're their own clerical.
And my other question was, you have 2 unfilled positions.
That's on the other side of IT. Those are 2 positions that are vacant at the point.
And are you talking about the IT positions?
Yeah,
Because
those-
one is a technologist and the other is in help desk.
Yes. the
So
one is help desk.
we've got an unfilled help desk.
Just curious, how come these positions aren't filled? Like, in terms of,
Well, I think
That would be a question for
Mr. Yusuf.
yeah,
HR.
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm assuming, knowing that there's positions open, if you knew of people, they'd be directed and
Not necessarily. If the job becomes vacant, it's, depending on the position, there's many jobs that now become vacant that haven't
yeah, I
been
know,
filled.
there's,
So
okay.
And it was never posted out, so just want to mention that.
that one, the other help desk analyst position that became vacant last year, that was due to a retirement, and then it just was never filled.
One of the issues with it was going to go through job evaluation. The help desk analyst position has changed quite a bit. At one point, it was something a clerical person was moving into, but it's become more technical. And so they wanted to put it through job evaluation, but there was some issues with job evaluation. It was going under review itself, so, and then it just never got done, and then the job was cut.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Bilizar.
No, I was just say sorry for taking up so much time.
No, that's okay. We have 3 trustees. Trustee Bilizar, Trustee Tokolote, and Trustee Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I share your perspective of the importance of especially the help desk. I'd like to know, on your own perspective, how would it impact our organizational effectiveness in that regard? And secondly, just in case we pursue, trying to eliminate or whatever, what would be the outcome to your department? Who's gonna take care of those responsibilities and those effectiveness?
Thank you. Thank you for the question through the chair. The reason why I brought these stats, so you can see on average, like every single day, how many calls are coming in, right? And it's only 2 people that are answering the call, me and Cindy, who's in the audience over here. Cindy's been with our department for the last 2 years. But she does have a seniority because she was at Palmer and she has a knowledge of the My Education BC. I've been the person who's in the help desk position the most. How is it going to impact if my position is eliminated, all these calls that are coming in, and this is not even a busy time from April 1st to 20th, Cindy will be having to answer all these calls, and her backup would be Lisa, where Lisa is supposed to be doing other things, and it's not in her thing as a foreman, like to answer the calls, like she'll be her backup. Right now, you can see if we are and this is just last week and this week, 211 calls on Friday. If Cindy can answer 211 calls a day, go ahead, eliminate this position. But, it's the workload itself is going to be so much on one person. they're gonna get tired. There are gonna be delays. People are gonna call. Already, we're getting a lot of calls saying, "Oh, thank God I got through to you guys," because it seems like nobody's answering over there. Yeah, because it's 2 people answering right now. And now you're talking about just having one help desk person, and who's gonna support the entire district. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. So I'm glad you asked this question, because you can imagine if Cindy is happy to take that many calls, or maybe in a year, she's going to get frustrated and, there is a retention issue then. She's going to leave the position because of being so stressful at work all the time. So we're already stressed.
There is absence for whatever reason. Who taking care of the job?
No one.
We're the ones who are taking the load for the one last person already.
But if there's an absence, for instance, say she's sick or something like that, there is no backfill for that. That would land specifically then on Lisa, which as a foreman, because that would be the only person who would be able to pick up that backlog. But if she's sick, there is nobody to fill in that's qualified to do that, to sub into that position. So.
And just want to add on that, the sub-in position, you can't have a person to come in and sub in this position, because you need to have a technical knowledge. You need to have, there is so much security information in there. We have access to a lot of things that not a lot of people have in the district. Even the password, the admin password, we can't just give it to a sub and then they can go back and share that password, or, it'll be a breach of confidentiality, so.
In other words, later, no help, just the desk.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
If I may, so Trustee Tablotny and then Trustee Sargent, please. Hopefully we can. Trustee Tablotny, maybe we can come back to you if that's okay. Trustee Sargent, please.
Yeah, it's not really a question, but if you mentioned, Stacy, if you
Sorry,
have another brief. Sorry?
Trustee Sargent, if we, I think Trustee.
Okay.
Okay, well, yes, if it's okay with you, I will come back to you, Trustee Tablotny.
Okay.
He's on. Oh.
Just, you mentioned, Stacy, that you had another brief. Just to anybody who has a brief that's coming into us, if you could get that ASAP, because I haven't seen.
I've already submitted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps I haven't seen it.
Okay.
And so if, also RTA, if you're presenting another brief, the sooner the better, so that we can, and anybody else. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Trustee Tablotny, please.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't holding my lips the right way or flicking my fingers the right way. I couldn't get the unmute to come up. And then I have to turn my volume down. But so I'm trying to understand this. So you currently have two on the help desk right now. Is that correct? But there's also two vacant positions. Is that correct? Okay.
Sorry, there's one vacant.
And,
one
okay. So how long have the positions been vacant? I'm just curious.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Sorry, Deb, 2 years?
Yeah. Okay. And then I just wanted to say, I had to use the help desk about a week and a half ago. And, it was amazing support because I just didn't know what to do. My authenticator wasn't working. I got a new phone and nothing was working. So the work that you do is amazing and very much. So, I'm trying to figure out how we manage.
And I thank you for coming forward and, talking about everything that you do, because I think it's important for us to know, everything that you're doing, but, and it sounds like you've got a pretty small department, so, something that we're gonna have to really consider. Anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you all, and appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public present tonight who would like to present to the board? Mr. Billings.
Just real quick. Dean Billings with the RDPA. I was just thinking about I know your budget is incredibly complicated, all kinds of earmarks and all kinds of considerations. But I just noticed, at least the document, the fundraising policy, the document itself is very old. I'm sure you guys consider that all the time. But if I think about, I was talking to some folks from Vancouver, and I know they used to have their kind of Feeding Futures program, used to get some donations and fundraising. I know Toronto's website, at least, is quite different. I wonder if there's something there, maybe in some area that you cut, that you make maybe some sort of district-wide priority for fundraising, maybe in a little bit different way than we have in the past. I don't know if that's something that hasn't been looked at in a while, or maybe it has, and it's kind of. I know that, again, there's lots of restrictions about you don't want to do fundraising for stuff that's core responsibilities, but there's some school districts that do interesting things from time to time. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Billings. Just given its final minutes, any other member of the public present tonight wish to, please? You kindly just introduce yourselves so that trustees know who you are, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alvin Chow, and I work for the tech department. And I'm also, obviously, I'm team of Gurpreet and Lisa, and I mostly do infrastructure and do basically so-called tier 2 support. So when the help desk are overfull, or if they cannot solve a problem, then we as a team of roughly 4 to 5 persons that would help out. So I just want to say that the position of the help desk is very important because the front line is more like a switchboard, but it's more like a superconductor that whenever someone in the district or outside the district, they call in. And these ladies would know who they should reach at, or whoever has the information, or who could solve the problem for every one of us in the district or outside the district. So it's utmost important that everything is solved in a timely manner, and if there's a fire, we stop it as much as possible or as fast as possible, and so it's very crucial. And I forgot what I want to say, but but if you are already very happy with our service, thank you very much. But if you are already not very happy, then with the cut of Gurpreet's position, you might be more upset than ever. And if you were furious, then you'll be super mad. And I don't want to say the word that I'm not allowed to say in this public speaking here. Yes, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Well, thank you everyone again for. At this time, I'll turn the chair over back to our board chair.
Okay, thank you. Now looking for a mover and a seconder for the motion that the Board of Education rise and report from the Committee of the Whole discussion on the 2026-2027 annual budget. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Beliza, seconded by Trustee Sargent. Are there any discussions? Yes.
Yeah, for discussion.
For discussion.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Just before we return to, or we head out of Committee of the Whole, just a brief comment on where we are, the budget process from my point of view. We have to situate ourselves in a context that that we're seeing, if these proposals were to hold true and to be approved, 3 cuts in a row in our district following last year's budget and the mid-year adjustment that we had to make this school year. What I've heard tonight, and again, just wanted to thank all those in the audience that have come out and to bring life to the issues that are at hand, and share with us a bit of what your work looks like. I look at the proposals, and even coming in before hearing from all of you, those mental health proposals just is something that I can't help but think about. Recognizing that for a lot of it's hard to quantify because I don't have the numbers, but for a lot of for learners, that's often the last line of defense, is if they're in school and they have those mental health supports either through their teachers, through their counselors, through their and all the other folks that the support educators and staff that are doing the work on the ground. I can't imagine the immense challenge that we're going to be in when we talk about decreasing mental health supports. I do want to thank also CUPE members for coming out tonight to share their thoughts on the help desk analysts, and the numbers matter. And so, we have that tonight, so I appreciate that. What has been said about the domino effect of things are true. It's not necessarily a cut in the classroom, but as much as we're avoiding that, that does come around back to the classroom in some shape or form, and so I just want to acknowledge that as well. One thing that I don't think has been talked about enough during this process is where the district is at with its operation reserves. And so for me, as a trustee, I would like to understand where the flexibility is within the 2 to 4%, which is what we ought to have according to our policy, and where we sit in that. I say this recognizing that decisions on operational reserves are made and discussed throughout the province at quite a few school districts, and so we wouldn't be alone in discussing that piece of our budget work, but it is a necessary and critical piece if we are to address these matters seriously and ensure that at the end of the day we do come out with the best result possible. At this point, I can't say that I'm committed to this budget as it stands, but what I will commit to is that continuation to listen to all of you, listen to the public, and meet folks where they're at to continue these conversations, because it matters. This budget, we're talking about north of $300 million every year. It's not something that the listening public may be aware all the time, but we certainly acknowledge that around the table. I certainly do that, and so the work continues. I want to thank everybody for their time today. Thank you.
And I'm just going to reread this again. I'm looking for a mover and seconder for the motion. The Board of Education rise and report from the Committee of the Whole discussion 2026-2027 annual budget. And I believe, thank you. And then we had some discussion. Now I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, the motion is carried. I'd like to thank all partner group representatives and public members for coming forward to present your feedback and input. The Board of Education will refer all partners groups and public, if any, input and feedback to the budget process. When I first became a trustee and I sat through my first budget, we did the Committee of the Whole that night, and then we voted on the budget the same night. And which I thought, this is kind of nuts, because we only had a couple hours to think about it. And sure enough, I mean, at the end of the night, or after that budget was passed, if the people who presented that night didn't have their argument go through, it was like, well, why are we even doing this? I mean, why did we have the Committee of the Whole and have the vote the same night? I mean, and so I'm glad to see that, and I want to assure everyone that, yes, you've been given sort of a budget and ideas and suggestions, and there's definitely a direction that we're headed in, and obviously the main point of the direction is we've got to balance the budget. Now, in early years past, there are items on there that you could say, well, we could do with that or do with one fewer or whatever. But when you look at the list that we have now, all of them are important. So it's not a matter of which one is more valuable than others. They're all valuable. The question is how much is it going to impact our program, our kids, all right? And also to our employees as well. But it's about focused on the learners. And so when we look at what changes we have to make, we have to always have that in mind. And that's not to diminish our thoughts or ideas or for our staff, because they're very important as well. But at some point, when you don't have enough money to pay for the things that you need, you're going to make some decisions, and they're not going to be popular. So we will do the best we can, and as Trustee Yang has said, we don't vote on this till May 22nd at the next meeting. So just because you weren't able to present tonight, if you have friends who wanted to come, they still can send stuff to us, and we're still listening. All right. Trustee Sargent, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to, I really appreciate everyone coming tonight and saying with their heart too. It was, as usual, your focus is on the learner. But I also I feel like there might be a miss here where this budget process has been going on for 6 months. And I'm really proud of our budget process. And I wonder if this is only one small part. We have a budget advisory working group, and we've been meeting. And we've been meeting with that group, and we've been meeting with our staff a lot. And so I just want the public to know, and you hear, this has had some really intensive discussion, and we will continue to do that. But I don't want it left that this tonight was, this or that. I think that I wonder if Cindy could just talk about the process around when we began and where we are now, and we still have more time. But there has been intensive discussion, and you put a face to it, and I really appreciate that. There are some people that aren't here that have spoken at other times as well, so I just want to acknowledge that too. So I wonder if you could just speak about the process, if it's okay, briefly.
But not too long.
Certainly. Thank you, Trustee Sargent, for that question. And through the chair, as you know, public members and also trustees, the board passed its budget process, approved the budget process for 26-27 annual budget in the November board meeting. And in that report, we outlined the intensive budget engagement process that the board is proud to undertake. So through that process, one of the most important forum or channel vehicle that we're using as a school district or as a board is to listen to our education partner groups through the budget advisory working group meeting. We call it BOG meeting. And in those meetings, we have representatives from our wonderful education partners, RTA, QP, RMAPS, RASA, and RDPA. So we do have, and we go through, we had this year, since the start of the process, we had 3 BOG meetings. And then through these BOG meetings, we review the budget assumptions, review the current year 25-26 budget numbers and amended budget. And we also look at the budget assumptions, the revenues and expenses, the enrollment patterns, all the factors that are impacting our school district for the 26-27. So yes, as acknowledged by many, the budget process is an intensive process. And like I said, we do run a very transparent and inclusive budget process. So thank you.
Right. Okay, I'm looking for a mover and seconder for the motion that the Board of Education refer all partner groups input and feedback to the budget process. Looking for a mover and a seconder, moved by Trustee Sargent, seconded by Trustee Larson. Any discussions? Now I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you again for, everyone again for your participation in tonight's discussion. Okay, we're now going to lock the door, so you have to stay for the whole meeting. Just kidding. But seriously, though, we are going to continue on. We have our meeting, and if you feel the need that you want to stay and listen and participate, you're welcome to. But if for whatever reason you need to leave or you need to get up or whatever, we understand if you do not stay for the whole time or if you walk out as I'm talking even, all right? But anyways, we will do what you feel, all right? Okay, folks, we're going to continue on because we still have some more work to do here. So we've gone through 7A. Item B, our 2026-27 capital bylaw, 3 readings report. I'm looking for a report from the Secretary Treasurer and Director of Facility Services. There's a report attached, but do you want to talk about it?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. The report is on page 23 of the public board meeting package. So on March 27th, 2026, the Ministry of Infrastructure provided a response to the district's 26-27 5-year capital plan and provided approval to a number of minor capital projects. So now, according to the School Act, after receiving the capital response letter, the board is required to approve a capital bylaw to execute the capital funding agreement and proceed to the procurement and complete the capital projects following the ministry's direction. So therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the capital bylaw by way of 3 readings in today's meeting. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. The recommendation from the Secretary Treasurer is that the Board of Education adopt Capital Plan Bylaw number 2026-27-CPSD 38-01 by way of 3 readings. Before we do that, do I have consensus that 3 readings of the 2026-27 Capital Plan Bylaw take place at this meeting? Okay, folks? Okay there? Okay, thank you, Deb. I will read the first reading of the bylaw in full. Capital Bylaw number 2026-27 CPSD 38-01, Capital Plan 2026-27. Whereas in accordance with Section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education of School District Number 38, herein called the Board, has submitted a capital plan to the Minister of Infrastructure, herein called the Minister, and the Minister has approved the capital plan. Now, therefore, in accordance with the Section 143 of the School Act, the Board has prepared the capital bylaw and agrees to do the following. A, authorize Secretary Treasurer to execute a capital project funding agreement related to the capital projects contemplated by the capital plan. B, upon ministerial approval to proceed, commence the capital project and proceed diligently and use its best efforts to complete each capital project substantially as directed by the Minister. C, observe and comply with any order, regulation, or policy of the Minister as may be applicable to the Board or the capital projects. And D, maintain proper books of accounts and other information and documents with respect to the affairs of the capital projects as may be prescribed by the Minister. Now, therefore, the Board enacts as follows. 1, the capital bylaw of the Board for the 2026-27 capital plan as approved by the Minister to include the supported capital projects specified in the letter addressed to the Secretary, Treasurer, and Superintendent dated March 27, 2026 is hereby adopted. The capital bylaw may be cited as School District Number 38, Capital Bylaw Number 2026-27-CPSD 38-01. Can I have a mover and seconder for the first reading? Thank you, Trustee Wong moved and seconded by Trustee Larson. I now call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? First reading is carried. We'll now read the second reading of the bylaw in summary, as trustees have the full bylaw in front of you. that the Board of Education approve capital bylaw number 2026-27-CPSD 38-1. Through the bylaw, the board agrees to authorize the Secretary Treasurer to execute the annual program funding agreement and to proceed the approved projects diligently according to all applicable laws, regulation, and ministry policy. Can I have a mover and seconder for that reading? Moved by Trustee Sargent, seconded by Trustee Yang. Are there any questions or discussions? Question? Yep.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yeah, I'm just looking at the list of approved projects and looking back to what we had originally submitted as part of that plan. Under the bus item, I think our request was for an electric bus. And so as it stands, this proposal is going to provide us with a regular gas bus, if I understand that correctly. And then also the amount is noted as TBD. So I was just wondering if there was some further information about why those are as presented.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Trustee Yang, for that question. Yeah, the ministry approved one bus replacement for bus number 153, and this is currently in active route. This bus is one of the McNair Hamilton routes, actually, buses. So the approval, basically, it's a regular bus. And this is following the ministry's direction. The ministry didn't provide the rationale why it's only, combustion engine buses instead of other buses. And the approval is for either a type A2 or type C. In our case, it should be a larger, currently that bus is a type C, which is either 76 or 56, a larger bus. Yes, so the reason for the amount being TBD is because we are currently engaging with the Association of School Transportation Services of BC. So that's the, you can call it approved vendor, basically. We're working with the association to review different options and specifications for the Type C buses. And once that's determined, then we can put our finger on the exact amount. And that's why the capital response letter is actually waiting for this process to be completed. And then the approved amount will be based on the actual contract.
So. And then if I can follow up on that, seeing that this is a replacement bus for the McNair route, would it be fair to say that this is quite a necessary replacement at this time?
For sure, yeah. The bus is about, I don't recall the exact kilometers, but it's a aged fleet, so we do need to, we are at a time to replace the bus, for sure.
Thank you. And my quick comment would be just, certainly, while I certainly appreciate the projects that are coming to the district, this one frustrates me a little bit, I have to be honest, because, in our original submission, it was asked for the electric bus. And the fact that now it's coming back as a bus with, a regular gas bus, we're locking in a piece of assets that's going to be in the district for a decade, if not even longer. And the fact that, that is not in line with, the sustainability efforts that we want to make. It is frustrating, but, our hands are tied because this is something that the ministry has just said, this is what we're providing you. And so perhaps further advocacy work needs to happen, but I fear this is a general trend and direction in governance of all levels that seemingly sustainability just doesn't matter as much anymore when faced with those dollars and figures, and I don't think that's the message we want to send. But I will support this because the projects on the rest of the list also do matter. So, thank you.
Okay, now call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Second reading is carried. I will now read the third reading of the bylaw as trustees have the full bylaw in front of you, that the Board of Education approve capital bylaw number 2026-27-CPSD 38-01. Through the bylaw, the board agrees to authorize the Secretary Treasurer to execute the annual program funding agreement and to proceed the approved projects diligently according to all applicable laws, regulations, and ministry policies. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the third reading? Trustee believes the move, and Trustee Tablani second. Any discussion? Now call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? The third and final reading is carried. The 2026-27 capital bylaw has been read a first, second, and third time, is passed and adopted this 22nd day of April 2026. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're now going to move on to item 7C. There's a recommendation from staff regarding the board-approved bus riders for the 2026-27 school year. We have a report from the Secretary Treasurer.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. My report is on page 32. Following Board Policy 522 and 522R, the Transportation Department, they have completed this year's review of the transportation services. And staff are recommending to the board to approve the continuation of bus services for the students whose walk to school would be subject to safety concerns. So therefore, we have the recommendation in your report. Thank you, Chairperson.
So moved.
Hang on one second. So I'm going to read the recommendation that the bus service for those students at school served by district transportation system for whom safety concerns for travel to and from school have been identified continue to the 2026-27 school year, and further that the superintendent and designate review transportation service in accordance with policies 522 and 522-R. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Yang, seconded by Trustee Wong. Any discussion? Trustee Sargent?
No, I was moving it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
It's okay.
Okay. If there's no discussion, call the motion or recommendation. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. Thank you. Okay, another bylaw. New business, 2025-26 school site acquisition charge bylaw. Another three reading we have to do here. We got a report from the Secretary Treasurer. Would you like to speak to it, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. According to the Local Government Act, the Board of Education is required to adopt a bylaw to set the school site acquisition charge within 60 days of the receipt of the approved 5-year capital plan from the ministry. So therefore, this is an annual process. So therefore, staff recommend that the Board of Education adopt a SSAC bylaw number 2026-1 to set the 26-27 school site acquisition charge by way of 3 ratings. And following the adoption of the bylaw, staff will forward the bylaw to the city for the collection of the site acquisition charges. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the recommendation from the Secretary Treasurer is that the Board of Education adopt the SSAC bylaw number 2026-1 to set the 2026-27 school site acquisition charge by way of 3 readings. Do I have consensus that 3 readings of the 2026-27 school site acquisition charge bylaw take place in this meeting? 1, 2. Good? Good. We're good up there. Okay. I will read the first reading of the bylaw in full. School District 38, 7811 Granville Avenue, Richmond, BC. SSAC bylaw number 2026-1 2026-1 to set the 2026-27 school site acquisition charge. Whereas school district number 38 is an eligible school district pursuant to Division 20 of the Local Government Act, for which the board has indicated an eligible school site requirements in its approval 2026-27 5-year capital plan. And whereas the board submitted its eligible school site requirement pursuant in its capital plan to the Ministry of Infrastructure after the board consulted with and received approval from each local government within the school district pursuant to the Local Government Act. And whereas the site acquisition component of the 2026-27 5-year capital plan for school district number 38 was approved by the Minister of Infrastructure on the 27th day of March 26, with the minister requiring that the school site acquisition charge capital bylaw be adopted by the board within 60 days. Now, therefore, the board enacts the following. This bylaw may be cited as school district number 38 capital bylaw to set the 26-27 school site acquisition charges. Item number 2, eligible development means A, subdivision of land in school district number 38, or B, any new construction, alteration, or extension in school district number 38 that increases the number of self-contained units on a parcel. Pursuant to Division 10.1 of the Local Government Act, the board establishes the charges applicable to the prescribed categories of eligible development for the school district in accordance with the following formula. SSAC equals A times B divided by C times D. Did I read the whole thing? Oh, my God. Where SSAC equals the school site acquisition charge applicable to each prescribed category of eligible development. A equals $30 million, the approved value of land required to meet the board's eligible school site requirement. B equals 35%. C equals 15,700. The number of approved eligible development units, and D equals a factor set by provincial regulation for each prescribed category of eligible development. The school site acquisition charges applicable to the categories of eligible development as prescribed by the BC Regulation 1700 for the school district are set out in the table below. See table below. Item number, going on to 5, the school site acquisition charge does not come into effect until 60 days after the adoption of the bylaw or as regulated by the province. Can I have a mover and seconder in the first reading? Trustee Wong, thank you, and Trustee Larson, seconder. I now call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? First reading is carried. 5, I will now read the second reading of the bylaw in summary as trustees have the full bylaw in front of you. The SSAC bylaw number 2026-1 to set the school site acquisition charge for 2026-27 are adopted to approve the annual eligible school site proposal in accordance with the Local Government Act. Can I have a mover and seconder for the second reading? Moved by Trustee Yang, seconded by Trustee Sargent. Are there any questions or discussions? You have a question?
Yes, thank you. Just to the Secretary Treasurer, we had a review, I believe, last year on the SSAC, and I'm just wondering when we would be doing that again.
Thank you, Trustee Sargent, for your question. And through the chair, can I clarify, are you talking about the SSAC regulation review, or?
Yeah, just the amount.
The amount, it's coming to the board in either May or June board meeting. That is part of the 5-year capital submission process.
Right, so this is accepting, saying to the city, this is what's going to be happening. But when will we be reviewing the amount that we take from the city?
Reviewing the amount, meaning the total acquisition cost, or?
Yes, well, there's a fee that developers and people have to pay if they're going to build. And I believe staff brought us, I think it was last year, a review of is that amount that is charged to the developers, is that the correct amount or should it be raised?
I see, yes.
And so with that, it won't affect this reading, but when will we be reviewing that?
I think, okay, so the purpose of this one, obviously, is to set the rate and forward the rate to the city. The current rate right now, according to the legislation, has already been capped.
Right.
So basically, every year, we're forwarding the same rates to the city. So they can charge to the developer. In terms of the rate, so that rate is a legislative rate in the Local Government Act. As you recall, last year we had a board report from staff to the board, recommending board to forward a motion to the BCSTA AGM.
Right.
I think previously BCSTA had a similar motion going to the provincial government to advocate for the lift of the cap of the SSC rates.
But our staff also did the analysis of what made sense. And so I think we should stay on that request and making sure, I would like to see something maybe next year from staff on, is it, I don't even want to say market average, but is the amount that we're charging we know it's not even relative, but just something we can go on so that we can continue our advocacy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can bring a report into a future meeting for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Trustee Yang,
Yeah,
followed by Trustee Believer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just to add to that, I think we have sent letters regarding this issue before to our provincial politicians, and certainly that's a conversation that's been had with our MLAs, and so I think the key is to address that gap that we see as the Secretary Treasurer mentioned, the cap that's legislated in the Local Government Act. So.
Trustee Believer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there a limit on the time and the amount of the acquisition charge by the city?
The rate, so what we do here is to set the rate of the charges on different types of developments. And we provide this rate to the city. So the city can apply the rate in the new developments that are happening in the city of Richmond. So this process is an annual process, and the rate, as you can see, is documented on page 36 of the public package. So basically, the reason the amount of the rates are legislated by the Local Governments Act. So we're taking the rates from the Local Government Act and then also the SSC regulation.
How about the time?
The time is, this is an annual process. Once the board received the capital approval letter from the ministry, the board is required to pass the rate according to the legislation and provide the rate to the city for the collection.
I mean, is there a limit for the city in terms of levying the site acquisition charge?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the city will, through their systems, their system, they have a collection system. So through their system, they continue to work with the local developers whenever they provide, whenever they receive a new developments in the city, they will apply these rates on the developments.
And the remittance to the district, the amount collected, how often do they remit?
It's a quarterly remittance to the school district from the city. So the city will collect it on an ongoing basis, and once they collected the charges, they will forward the charges to the school district on a quarterly basis.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I believe we have a question from Trustee Tablotny.
Yes. Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, the trustees have long been advocating for changes to this. We always, I didn't see one this year, but quite often at our BC Trustees Association, we put forward motions about the school site acquisition charges. We're supposed to approve them, the rates, but it's pulling teeth to change them. And it's not enough. What we get from the developers, understand that they're kind of hamstrung too with all the charges against them. But what's important is if you build it, children come. So we'd be able to build schools. And that's where we've been at for with City Center for quite a while. So, we think, it needs review. And so, we think that next year, I think we should figure out what we can do to make it better, but, it's definitely never enough. And if Cindy pulled the amount that we have in our coffers out of the hat, it would tell you the clear picture. But anyway, we won't go there tonight, but we don't. It needs to be reviewed, and it needs to be reviewed in conjunction with the city, as well as the province. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Tawani. I now call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Second reading is carried. I will now read the third reading of the bylaw as trustees have the full bylaw in front of you. The SSAC bylaw number 2026-1 to set the school site acquisition charge for 2026-27 are adopted to approve the annual eligible school site proposal in accordance with the Local Government Act. Can I have a mover and seconder for the third reading? Trustee Beliza, thank you. Looking for a seconder? Trustee Tawani, there's a seconder. Are there any questions or discussions? Seeing no question or discussion, I now call the questions. All those in favor? Opposed? Third and final reading is carried. The 2026-27 school site acquisition charge bylaw has been read a first, second, and third time, is passed and adopted this 22nd day of April 2026. And passed, yeah, that's it. Okay. That takes care of our new business, and we're going to move on to questions from the public. Would anyone from the public like to ask questions?
Liz Baverstock, President Richmond Teachers. Actually, my question comes up in relationship to, actually the budget and the process. And I'm actually asking trustees, just have you considered, because I have to make it a question, that when we are faced with a shortfall like this year, that the Budget Advisory Working Group meeting, the very last one that is scheduled, that it is at least 2 hours. 1 hour is actually too short. The other thing, because, yes, there are many times where we can give feedback, but in situations like this, when we find out on April 9th, what are the possible decisions that are going to be cut, we then have to think about that to April 13th. That's not a lot of time. And then really get everything ready by April 22nd. So you can understand it's actually a very short timeline. And so the Committee of the Whole is a very important night to us. And that is why you saw a lot of presentations tonight where you might not have heard that detail on April 13th, because it just simply isn't a long enough meeting to dig into this. So have you considered? Thank you.
Just a question on that, because we're always trying to get better.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a bulk after those kind of suggestions or come out from staff?
Yes, I do recommend a BOG meeting, a board advisory working group meeting. I think it's a good idea where we can be in a room together, have a presentation, talk it through discussion. But it was a very short amount of time, and we really couldn't get into the specifics of the areas of concern. And honestly, we couldn't be as prepared as we could by April 22nd.
Gotcha.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions from the public? Okay, moving on to item 10, our standing committee reports. Audit Committee, Trustee Beliza.
I have no report other than announcement that the next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 5th, 2026.
Thank you. Education Committee Chairperson, Trustee Yang.
Thank you very much. The minutes of the meeting held February 11th are attached for information, and a meeting was held Wednesday, April 15th, and the next meeting is scheduled Wednesday, May 13th, 6 p.m.
Thank you. Facility and Buildings Committee, I'm the chair of that one. The minutes of the meeting held March 4th are attached for information. Meeting was held Wednesday, April 1st. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 6th at 4:30 p.m. Finance and Legal, Chairperson, Trustee Wong. Leave some recommendation you want to get through?
So we have, just like in compliance with the provision of the School Act, Financial and Legal Committee recommend the board's approval the trustee expenses for the 3-month end, March 31st, 2026, and the total amount is $7,177.92. So we have a recommendation.
Okay, so Trustee Wong has moved it. I'm looking for a seconder. Seconded by Trustee Larson. Any discussion? Okay, not seeing any. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, recommendation is carried. Trustee Wong, you have other information about your next meetings?
So we have a minute of the meeting held on February 11, 2026 are attached for information. A meeting was held on Wednesday, April 15, 2026, and the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 13, 2026 at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Policy Committee, Chairperson is Trustee Tablotny. Trustee Tablotny?
Okay, the school opening ceremony, we have guidelines for school opening ceremony that go policy 1.2, and the report is to provide background and the draft rewrite of the administrative guidelines. And guideline we do not approve. So these guidelines are for official school opening. It is changing guidelines and improving and adding to and deleting certain items from like 2005. And so we will be having a school opening, and so it's important for us to get going on this. So just sharing the guidelines with everyone regarding the school opening ceremony, which we will be doing hopefully in the fall. So that's it for me. And our meeting, let me look it up, is. Hang on, I'm gonna move through this. Our next meeting date is this Monday, April 13th. So something is wrong here. I'm not seeing the next date. It will be in the second Monday in May at 11 a.m. Public is welcome.
I think that's
That's
Monday.
it for me.
May
Thank you.
11th.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Board committee and representative reports, council board liaison committee. Does anyone want to report from council board?
It's coming up.
Okay, next meeting scheduled for April 29th. BCSTA. Anyone want to report back on BCSTA?
We have AGM, BCSTA was held on April 9th to 11, 2026.
Thank you. Just a comment to thank all of you for supporting the motion that was put forward to BCSTA AGM requesting the province to lift the ELL 5-year funding gap. Pleased to say that the general membership adopted that motion, and so that advocacy is moving forward. We hope that that is lifted someday. Thank you very much.
All right. BCPC.
I just wanted to.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that just a couple of highlights for me at the AGM was the pre-conference with an Indigenous focus, and listening to Monique Gray Smith, the famous author who did highlight to make sure that you highlight the illustrators when you're writing a book. She was unbelievable speaker, very moving, and set the tone for the conference. Also, one of the best keynote speakers I've ever seen was the Olympian Clara Hughes. We were lucky to listen and partake in her message. If you ever get a chance to see her, highly recommend. Maybe you can even search. It was extremely uplifting, very powerful. The message was right on to the work that we do. And then there were 32 motions that were debated and passed and changed, and it was great democracy and work. And I think if the public would like to see, they could go to bcsta.org and see the 32 motions that we were partaking in to make public education a better place. Thanks.
Thank you. Once again, BCPC, I see there's nothing there to report unless someone has something to report. All right, moving on to correspondence. We did receive correspondence from QP Local 716 dated April 2nd regarding National Day of Mourning on April 28th, 2026. And I believe we have a recommendation coming forward.
Whereas the Board of Education, Richmond, wishes to express support to QP Local 716 for their desire to recognize death and injury of workers on the job. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, Richmond, officially recognize April 28th as the National Day of Recognition for workers killed or injured on the job with a 1-minute cessation of work at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, and further that flags in the district be lowered to half-mast on that day.
Thank you for moving it. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Yang, second. Any discussions? Any discussion? Oh, okay.
By Levi's.
That's kind of weird. Call the recommendation. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, recommendation is carried. Thank you. That is it. I'm looking for a mover and a second to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Trustee Yang, seconded by Trustee Beliza. All in favor? Thank you. All right, so that takes care of our public staff. We are